Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of my target demographic. There's a darkness on my mind some days. Sweet depression, a familiar haze. So if you find me wandering, lost in a moron's daze, will you just hold me through the night? I have difficulty letting things go. I don't know why I can't let things go. A few years ago, I went to a dinner party with my friend Jas Milam. She's a wonderful painter. She does paintings you could hang in a museum or dance to. And I was at dinner with her and her husband Cliff and their daughter Molly and their son Max, and they have a basset hound named Ars Longa and a hamster named Vita Brevis, a joke I was forbidden to explain to their children. And we were eating dinner, and my wife was there. Her name escapes me at the moment. And very quickly, do not approach me after the show and say that I'm disrespectful to my wife for not saying her name on stage. She prefers anonymity. She had a taste of fame years ago, and I find it very difficult to memorize. So I'm sitting at dinner with these people that I love. And I had been working on a piece for my act, a poem with a friend named Alex Bernstein, a joke writer. He writes jokes you can put in an opera. And he sent me this piece, and I had done some rewrites and emailed it back to me. He emailed back to me, and I emailed back to him. And finally, I had a version I liked. And I said to my friends, I said, hey, can I run a piece by you? Now, some of you may not have friends who are writer-performers. When a writer-performer sits at your dinner table and says, hey, I have a piece I'd like to run by you, you have no choice but to say, all right. But what the performer will hear is, oh, I would be so honored to be involved in your process. Please show us your new work. So I made this offer, and Jas and Cliff responded very enthusiastically, it seemed to me. And I did this poem for them. Here, I'll just do it for you. Does Neil Sedaka play Sudoku? If he does he play to the sound of cicadas while sipping Sambuca in southern Sedona? Does he call up Madonna and Robert De Niro to come for canasta or even some Uno, then afterwards, hopefully, maybe Sudoku? And Kiki D? Would she? Do Kiki and Yoko eat pico de gallo with David Sedaris? Do they speak of antiques and quote some quaint haiku? Just what do they do? If they do. When they do. Sudoku. And what of Santana? De Kooning? Sinatra? Did Frank croon a tune while he did his Sudoku? Did he dooby-doo and shoo-be-dooby-doo, and did he do that voodoo? Did Eva and Ava and Jaja and True, when it was Trey hip to be hep, do beaucoup Sudoku? Did Chico and Harpo and Groucho and Zeppo and even old Gumbo watch Silvers do Bilko while they did Sudoku? Count Dooku and Luke long ago far away when they went to Naboo did some space Sudoku. And fluky but true, I've heard that Camus when he did Sudoku wore a toque from J. Crew. Who knew? What about you? When you sit in the loo or you wait in a queue, do you curse the time through or do swift Sudoku? Do you wear a Seiko or maybe a Faco? Do you watch Scooby-Doo or practice Kung Fu? Just what do you do when you do Sudoku? Do you ever feel cuckoo, like you've got a loose screw or perhaps even two? Is this you? Do you see yourself in this picture I drew? And I? Do I too? Oh, I did, I do. Some nights more than a few till the day comes anew. Only when I unglue and my eyes are askew do I put down the pen and decide that I'm through. Oh wait, that's it too. I only have 12 minutes. I don't have time to waste on my applause. So I did this poem for Jess, Cliff, and Max, and Molly, my wife. Something with an N, I think. And then I had finished the poem. And Cliff said, oh, that's really funny, sort of like Dr. Seuss. And Jess said, how do you remember all those words? And that's kind of a dumb comment, so I ignored it. It's very impressive, and I listened to that because I love to be impressive. And then this awkward pause settled on the table because they were done stroking me. But I was nowhere near done being stroked. So in this awkward silence, while I was waiting for more flattery, their son, Max, 11 years old, made direct eye contact with me across the table. And he said, Anakin, Anakin! And I said, what? Because I'm good with kids. And he said, Anakin went to Naboo with Dooku. Luke wasn't even born yet. And then he rolled his eyes like a physics professor who's heard you use parsec as a measurement of time. And I said, thank you, Max. I will perhaps do a rewrite. Because I like for kids to know that it's okay to correct adults and you're not allowed to hit. But I knew immediately I was filled with self-loathing and regret and remorse because I was not going to do a rewrite. I had gone back and forth with Alex Bernstein over email for months, and I had a piece that I loved, and I was ready to do it, and I liked the piece, and nobody was ever going to know the difference except Max and me, and I'm an atheist. I am so completely an atheist that when people tell me they believe in God, I don't believe them. But I can tell you as a simple matter of scientific fact, but at the very pithy middle, at the epicore, at the perfect center of the place where the Big Bang occurred, from which the universe expands outward, there is a single unblinking eye that is unwaveringly focused on my flaws. If any of you ever encounter this eye, you will encounter a loving grandparent-like Carl Reiner Leoculum that sees in you only your greatest beauty and potential. But when this eye looks at me, it sees every flaw, every line left in a poem, even though it was inaccurate but expedient, every joke that I stammered through, every punchline blown, the time when I was 21 and said irregardless on stage, and then found out Joan Didion was in the audience. When this eye looks on me, it will see all of my flaws and failures, and it will cast me out into the great clockwork wonder of the universe, and as I fall away, I will shout, where are you sending me? And it will say, I'm sending you to Naboo to do Sudoku with Dooku and Luke. And I will shout, Anakin, Anakin! And it will roll itself like the eye of a disaffected tween, close to leave me fully and firmly and rightly alone in the void. And I will think, I do not know why I cannot let these things go. There's a sign of it. I seldom show. I just sort of figure you ought to know if you're for forewarned that every now and then my fuses blow. Would you still hold me through the night? You could be everything to me, but you should know I'm not like all the men on your TV. There are months when I'm afraid all the time. My mood can swing at the drop of a dime. So if you find me crying just 'cause I can't find a rhyme, would you just hold me? Thank you guys so much for giving me a few minutes.